Welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and Third-Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves off with a simple design for the platform over here, and now we're going to continue on with this type of a setup. So this is going to be the more of a wooden part over here. Let's just go ahead and grab the area that we had previously left off on the side. And I'm actually just going to real quick check if we need these. I don't think we're going to be needing them. I'm just going to actually go ahead and delete them like so. And this is the wooden part that we do need. So let's go ahead and see how it's actually going to fit in within this setup. So for starters, we're just going to make a simple bridge going across. Let's go ahead and do that actually. We're going to take this one over here like so. We're going to hold Alt and just drag it across like so. And I'm going to just attach it up to the side just like that. And I want to find out if this is going to be quite alright or not. I did actually forget to turn up the grid lock. So let me just go ahead and undo this real quick. Change this grid to 10. And this will make it easier for us to snap it throughout this entire setup. So we're going to now just lower it to the same height as it was. And yeah, let's keep the position as is. This is a taller one though. So instead of just grabbing it from the other areas, what we're going to do is we're going to firstly hold Alt. We're going to put this up to the side. And this one is has much longer variation ones. So I'm going to search for the ones, but instead of going back all the way to the level, I'm going to just click on this button over here when I have this selected, and it should give me to the selection of all the meshes, and this way we are able to explore the same area, and because it's of the similar naming convention, it should be close by. So I can already see that this perhaps might be it, and yes it is, so that's quite nice for me. I'm going to go ahead and actually just rotate it like so and just replace it to this position, and there you go. Just need to delete it and lower this down like so, and this will look quite nicely. There you go. All right, so now that we have this longer one like so, I'm going to actually lower this down to 5 grid and just make sure it's set up right in the middle where we want them to be. So I'm going to take off the gray box real quick, see how this looks like. And yeah, this looks quite nice. Let's go ahead and now continue on with this and just grab the smaller ones as well within the grid. Just like that, we're able to have a very nice type of a setup. Okay, so we also have some of the stairs. So I can see stairs over here. By the way, if you're not seeing this, these overall thumbnails as well, you can go into settings, this button over here, and just make sure you select tiles, and this will give you a much better result. You also have things like columns, for example. I'm not sure by default if it was set to columns or lists or whatnot, but when I'm working, I personally like to either work with the tiles or lists, depending on the type of setup of the meshes, basically. I'm just going to go ahead and select this go back onto this area. And there you go. We got ourselves the stairs over here. Just going to make sure we fit them in nicely, just like that. Then we also have a bit of other platforms as well. So let me just go ahead and see which ones are which. Actually, these ones are going to work very well for us, since this is going to be fitting in over here, just like that. And then I think this other platform, there you go, this is just a basic platform which is going to fit over here. So just like that, we're able to sort out the platforms that we need for this section. I'm going to go ahead and actually turn off the gray box so we'd be able to see what we're doing with the placements over here. And now in this particular case, I can see that there's going to be an issue with the platform over here. So what I can either do is just play around with this area over here, or I could actually replace this, just move it off to the side and replace it with just a normal platform like so. And even though it's a bit different type of a platform, because it's going to be hidden, well hidden, I think it's going to be quite okay. I just need to figure out if we need to leave this sort of a gap, if we can change the angle of this, or we can just simply stretch this out a little bit and just put it up like so. That's going to be quite all right. Or I'm going to also lower the grid a little bit. Just like that. And maybe I will actually expand it just a little bit more, like so. So let's check if it doesn't look too off in regards to this overall setup. I think it looks quite nice overall. So that's quite all right. Might even grab this and just make this a little bit larger. Just expanding it to the sides. And this, in this particular case, it's not going to be quite as visible, but as you can see over here, this pole underneath actually ended up stretching out a little bit as well. But again, for this particular case, it's going to be just fine. Now all we need to do is just duplicate it across, I reckon. Let's go ahead and check the gray box real quick. And yes, that seems to be the case. Go ahead and make a couple of duplicates. I'm going to increase the grid lock a little bit as well. And for this other area, we might need to use some extra setup. So let's go ahead and see what we have. And actually, we're going to just continue on with this instead. We're just going to get the end of the pier. We're going to grab a couple of these as well, and we're just going to set it up over here. We're going to hold Alt, drag it off to the side, and put it up just like that, like so. This is a longer one. I'm not going to use the longer one. I'm going to just set it up in a similar way as the gray box, although we don't really need to follow along these type of settings for over here. If you'd like, you can play around with the shapes a little bit in regards to the heights and whatnot. This is just my preference overall for this harbor, mainly because when we're clicking one and looking at this section over here, if we were to just have more scattered out sections over on this end, we'd just basically have more of a mess. In this case, because this one goes straight, then goes up, then goes down, it's slightly more consistent in regards to the distance. If we were to just have like up, down, it would end up looking jagged, and we don't really want this, especially with such thin types of poles over here. Maybe it was like a bit of a thicker type, or it was more stone made, we could have those more like jagged looking edges. But also because it's stylized, we gotta make sure we keep to that simplicity basically. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate it over here to the side. Now grab the small ones, and actually we just need two of them. So I'm just going to select both of them, holding Alt, and then drag it across like so. And this looks quite well. One more final part is going to be over here. I'm not sure what to do with this section over here. I think it's just the staircase. Do we have staircase already? I'm going to take this off, and we have a staircase over here. So I'm just going to hold Alt and just drag it outwards like so. And this is looking quite nice. Might need to readjust this a little bit, just like that. All right, so there we go. We got ourselves a nice pier set up. I'm thinking about this gap over here, whether or not I should be doing anything. I could either get it a little bit closer. I don't like the way these overlap. I might even just actually, it's a bit thicker overall, and I think it's just right for the setup. Yeah, I think it's quite all right actually for this area over here, since we're also going to be having like a building over in this section and whatnot. It's going to look all right. I was worried about the symmetry a little bit to the sides, but all in all, I think it's going to be quite okay. And I did mention in regards to the height over here, what we could do for this section, we could just take off the grid quite a bit. We could lower this down, for example, just like that. And then I can just go on to the location, select the blue axis over here, click Control-C to copy it, and then go, for example, to this one over here, and then paste in the value over here. If it lets me, there you go. I'm just going to use Control-V for that. And there we go. So selecting this, going on to the blue value, pasting it in, and just lowering these down. A quick fix, quick and simple type of a fix to just straighten them out, like so. And now it might be looking quite a bit better from such a distance. And I might even lower this down manually myself, actually. There you go. That looks quite all right. Okay, so this part over here, we still have some bits to do. So let's go ahead and continue on with this section. And We might need to spend a little bit of an extra. Oh, actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Increase the grid lock over here and do the same, just like that. And I'm thinking if we need to set ourselves up. Yeah, I think we need to set ourselves up with different type of platforms over here. Wondering if this, whether or not this is properly set up. And let me just go ahead and have a look at the harbor. This one does not have the parts that I want, or maybe it does. So these parts over here, actually the ones that I'm looking for. And I think that's exactly what we're going to use over in this section over here. First of all, let me just go ahead and grab these parts like so. I'm going to grab a couple of them, going to hold Alt, duplicate it, then just simple movement, kind of connect them together. And just going to see the height and whatnot. And I will leave this as is and move it all the way to the side. And actually I will need to grab the corner as well, holding Alt, putting up to the side. Not sure still how I'm going to use it, just going to get closer to the harbor. I think these three pieces are going to be enough. The reason being is that I see corners over here. We have some edges on the side over here, and there's a bit of a corner on this edge over here. So I think, yeah, that's all we need in regards to this setup. Or we might need this part over here, which I'm not sure about. So I'm going to just make a quick setup for this corner. So let me just go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees. And all I'm doing right now is just setting up this front over here, and then I'll worry about this very centered piece later down the line. So we're able to combine them just like that. And this is looking quite nice. All right. And I'm thinking whether or not we actually have some poles to work with as well. So this is the front section. And I think, yeah, the front section is literally just the front section, isn't it? I'll check later on with the parts over there. But since we're running out of time, let me just go ahead and quickly check for the parts that I'm looking for. And there doesn't seem to be any poles. I do see some poles in the meshes pack itself. So I'm just going to grab one of them since I know I'll need to make use out of it. Then I'm going to make sure that all of them are at a nice height and nicely positioned. Just like that. This is looking quite nice. And yeah, let me just go ahead and move all of these parts. Yeah, I'll leave the pole to the side. Let me just go ahead and move all of these parts down to the same height. And so it's going to look something like this. This upper part, in the middle part, needs to be just simply duplicated like so. Then I would also, yeah, I would also want this other side to be nicely set up. I'm just going to go ahead and hold Alt, duplicate it, and in this particular case, I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees. We can either rotate it or scale it. It really depends on the situation. In general, you don't want to scale it in negative values, so I'll show you later on by doing something like this, flipping it over. But in this particular case, it's not needed. And it's actually, you need to be very careful with that stuff, because sometimes if you're planning on animating or putting it into your code or something of the sort, you really don't want to be doing that, to be honest. So let me just go ahead and fix this up real quick. This little part, like so. And just like that. I think this one is a bit higher up than it needs to be. There you go, something like so. And yeah, this is looking quite nice. Let me just go ahead and duplicate it again and again. And maybe even one more time, depending on this section over here. I think it's going to be quite all right, actually, like this. Yeah, we still need some polishing up in regards to this harbor section. We still need some areas, and of course we'll be needing to set ourselves up with some boats, but we're going to continue on with this in the next lesson. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in a bit.